leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out that more. Saying that you're the best, you gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
Yo, what up, and shout out to the hottest shot in the MF and game. A-side official, no negotiations needed, period. You already know this is fight week. We have a banger coming up. If you didn't know, you're about to know. But let's get to these topics, man. Congrats to the Philadelphia Eagles on their Super Bowl win yesterday. Or should I say thrashing? Should I say whooping? Or should I prefix that with ass whooping? Stepped on, routed, easy work when they went up there and did the Chiefs dirty out the gate. Wouldn't be denied. And Saquon Barkley, he didn't even really have any highlight reel runs. He had one run. I think it was about what? I think it might have been for like 15 yards or something like that. But in reality, Jalen Hurts was the one who did the damn thing. You know, the mediator of the football team. The defensive coordinator, Philadelphia Eagles, did his damn thing. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not a football fan like that. But I was bandwagon around like a month. I went for the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday, and they got it done. And I said to myself, "Dang, Andy Cruz won this year. Boxing-Fulton won this year. Boxing-Fulton getting his second division. Did it set the precedence for Philly boxing? I'm just saying, did it set the precedent for Philly boxing, yo? Because the only one that's left up in there, left to jump on stage, man, is Jaron Ennis. Jaron Ennis, whoever he set to fight next, if Stanthionis holds up, he got to bring that back on. I mean, they'd be 4-0. It'd be 4-0 for Philly. They will have the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Two of their fighters over there in Bose's gym is 2-0 right now for the year. And then next on stage is Jaron Ennis. You know what I'm saying? To go in there and attempt to unify the 147-pound welterweight division. That's a good look. That's a good look, man. I like what I'm looking at. That's a good look, shawty. Real talk, that's a good look. You know what I mean? So congratulations to them, the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl champions. Let's get down to some reality checks right quick. Of a matter of fact, as you all know, Derek Chisora, a.k.a. War, UK fighter, bro. I actually like the guy. You know what I'm saying? He has some of the most interesting pressers. He turn up different. No nonsense. He had some, suspect moments when he was up there trying to freaking give David Hay the wet lip service for the wrong reasons. But Chisora is a fighter in the heavyweight division who has been known several times to go into fights where people knew it was going to be a lopsided affair, that he wasn't going to come out on top. And then he went in there with with some percentages where people's like, okay, I give him the benefit of the doubt. He might do something different. He's 36-13 with 49 fights. And 30 out of those 36 victories, he's 23 knockouts. All right, he's 41 years of age. Now, if you look at my title, I say black fighters in the U.S. versus UK. Respect is different. And I say that from the core, from the center. You know what I'm saying? Of my heart, genuinely as possible. UK can have bragging rights on how they treat their black fighters, in my opinion. Because Chisora is not any, president of the UK. He's not a freaking politician. Any of that. The man has 13 freaking losses. 13. He just went in there and defeated Alo Valim. Scores was 114, 112, 116, 110, 117, 109. Chisora cut over the right eye by a head clash. Valim down once in the 9th round and once in the 12th. Future plans for Chisora is to return back to the ring one final time for his 50th fight. 50th fight, okay? Why I'm making note of this is that if you look right here, he had a win over Joe Joyce, Gerald Washington, and Tyson Fury gave him another fight. Stop him in the 10th. He fought Cruz Pulev. Split decision win. Lost twice to Joseph Parker. Let's stop at Joseph Parker for a minute. He lost twice to Joseph Parker. His first fight was May 2021, and then he fought in December 2021. Okay, just outside the pandemic. Deontay Wilder fought Joseph Parker once in his career, and he went the distance. The same as Chisora. Chisora lost both times to Joseph Parker. Deontay Wilder lost to Joseph Parker. But do you know the chorus line I didn't hear for Chisora when he lost to Joseph Parker is that people saying he should retire. He ain't going to fight again. He's out of the sport. And from my understanding, Chisora is older than Wilder. Also, this is 3 straight losses. He has a set of 3 straight losses. Alexander Usyk, he lost to via unanimous decision. David Price, when at one point in time he was a highly touted contender, which fell by the wayside. Still, he's respected over there in the UK, for real. Arthur Spilka, that's a common opponent of Deontay Wilder. Derek Chisora KO'd him in 2 rounds, and that was in 2019. Okay, and then you have Dillian White, who he lost to, stopped Chisora in the 11th round. You have Carlos Takam. You know what I'm saying? All these familiar names. Adric Caballero. He's lost to him via majority decision. He has a very solid resume of names of heavyweights that we can say that are quality opposition. From the Dillian Whites, Kubrat Pulev. You know what I'm saying? Early on in his career. To the Tyson Furies. Fought a 29-4-1 Kevin Johnson. Malik Scott on there. David Hay on here, 25-2. Fought him back in 2012. Vitaly Klitschko. He's been in there with some crazy names, bro. Robert Helenius, back in 2011, when Helenius was spotless, 16-0. Chisora lost to him. Way back when. Tyson Fury fought this man 3 times. Why? Why? The same Deontay Wilder fights Fury 3 times. And it's the talk of the town. You know what I'm saying? Very anticipated matchup. The collision course was set. And once they saw the first fight, they wanted to see the second one. We didn't have to see the second one. But you know how that went. We saw a second and a third. Nothing comparable to that one is on this resume. Yeah, Tyson Fury may have fought him 3 times, but it's nothing like his trilogy that he had with Deontay Wilder. So if you're looking at Derek Chisora's record, he's in the double digits with losses, right? Well, if you look at Deontay Wilder, um, box Deontay Wilder only has 4 losses. Now he has a total of 48 fights. Listen to me. He has a total of 48 fights. Hold on for a second. Let me get you right. Deontay Wilder has a host of 48 fights. At this present time, Chisora is talking about returning. They was walking through the hallways because he was pretty much saying that's the last time he's going to be in that particular dressing room. And it was an emotional moment. You know, Derek Chisora is just remembering, like, this dude is no joke. Like, he's respected when it comes to boxing, just like Deontay Wilder. They both notable names in the sport. When it comes to the community that supports you, that's what really, really counts, especially if you're at the back end of your career, especially after everything that you have done in your career. You have Wilder, who was champion for 10 successful title defenses, and Chisora that always wanted to be the guy that was in Wilder's spot. When I say that, it would have been good for him to be able to reign as world champion. Okay? Wilder actually did it, in my opinion, and get nowhere near the barometer of respect that Derek Chisora gets as a UK fighter. You see the love, you see what they talk about when it's Chisora, the way he walks around. It's nobody's really trying to disrespect him at all. You know what I'm saying? Even his own people. But over here, it's always somebody has something to say about something this guy didn't do. When he fights the Joseph Parkers and the Zhangs at the end of his career, with only, look, he picked up 2 losses on the back end of his career, and these American fight fans have a problem with it. Where you have Chisora with 13 pro losses, 13, and he's coming back, and they're gonna give him the heroes going away, as if that man was a multi-division champion, like he was on the pound for pound list. They're gonna make it special for Chisora because they respect him being a warrior. They respect the battles that he's been in. Quite contrary to Deontay Wilder, who's only 2 fights away from 50. And all they do is criticize and whine all the freaking time about who he lost to. Who he lost to. You know what I'm saying? They never gave Joseph Parker when he fought Anthony Joshua early in his career. They never said that about Joseph Parker when he was knocked out by Joe Joyce. You know, Joseph Parker went on a losing streak, and I'm like, somebody enlighten me. The losses that Joseph Parker took, did he erase those when he went in there and beat Wilder up? A Wilder that they say that was pretty old? Derek Chisora, I don't never hear the old. When they commentating his fights, they bigging him up. He was just in there with Otto Wallin, a common opponent of Tyson Fury. And they was bigging freaking Derek Chisora up for his toughness and everything. But Wilder, he can't even come into a fight right now. Every time his name is mentioned, they got something crazy to say. And this man has 48 pro wins with only four losses. Only 4 freaking losses. And go down here, yo. We know, look, you have to understand, if we give other fighters that same criteria, you have to do it for the ones that's not your favorite fighter. Deontay had 2 losses by the same guy who was rewarded for Deontay Wilder's WBC belt, and that was Tyson Fury. Now, to this day, I would never try to do any type of psychological problem solving to figure out how the U.S. fight fans do not understand that you should respect fighters who go rematch and trilogies. And if by chance that fighter like Deontay lost twice to Fury, he was fighting what many of them, a drug cheat, a guy who lost his titles, popping dirty, came back to the sport, never defended his unified titles once, came back to the sport, and Deontay Wilder allowed him an opportunity to get back on his feet and get his name out there. And many people thought that Tyson Fury was one of the top heavyweights. They was always saying the same thing they said about Crawford. They ain't fought nobody. But yet, they refused to go back in time just before Deontay Wilder beat Bermane Stiverne and find the heavyweights that was ruling when the Klitschko brothers had the titles. I'm still looking. But if you take them back that far, they'll ask you, then why didn't Deontay ever fight Klitschko? So you're trying to tell me, you're trying to make it a point that if Deontay Wilder just would have fought Klitschko and beat him, just like Anthony Joshua has a Klitschko, just like a Tyson Fury has a Klitschko, that's all Wilder would have needed was to fight a Klitschko, no matter what age they are. That's all he needed to fight a Klitschko to pretty much zip up his whole career and for the fight fans to respect it. Nah, still, it's you just, sometimes when you're in a sport such as boxing and people don't like you, I believe it's a lot of people that respect Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to the American fight fans, I don't see the same emitting respect. I don't see it radiating. I don't see it radiating from the fans. I don't see it exuding naturally from the U.S. fight fans like I see Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora comes off as a nice guy, a guy that will drop of a dime, throw them hands in the street, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Dude has to switch, and he goes in there and fight. It's not like he's just hanging on the ropes getting beat the fuck up, right? But if you take Chisora's opponents and some of the performance values that he's been graded, and you put them on Deontay Wilder's resume, the U.S. fight fans will not respect him the way the U.K. fans respect Chisora for going in there and putting on a display of warrior spirit. It's not the same. And it'll never be the same, unfortunately, for Wilder. It'll never be the same. But to me, I speak on it because, U.S. boxing fans, in my opinion, of course, not all of them in its totality, are selfish. They are very entitled, selfish type of fight fans. You know what I'm saying? Very malicious. These U.S. fight fans are the most disloyal combat sports fight fans in any country. You know what I'm saying? We're busy up here, talking about Wilder losing his belt February 2020, and Tyson Fury being placed on the freaking Fight of the Year co-op, the magazine Fight of the Year award based off defeating Deontay Wilder, who they was always saying he hasn't fought nobody. Like I said before, this is coming off a huge hiatus, an absence of U.S. heavyweight champions. As WCS has put it before, we're damn near on our 5th year already of no U.S. champion. And we're not going to have another U.S. champion nowhere soon. No time soon, bro. But the U.S. fans are good with tearing down Wilder when he did have the belt. He was never good enough while he was defending the belt. He was given highlight reel knockouts, but on the back end of his career, he's fighting the top competition, so to speak. All right? And that's crazy that I would even consider Joseph Parker, you know what I'm saying, a top competition, and not say that I don't think he was top competition over Wilder. No time of the day I'll say that. Because Joseph Parker, when he had the opportunity to face Joshua to retain his WBO belt, he just survived. Wilder successfully 10 defenses is commendable. Zhang is still searching at 40, 41, 48, 53, 58. He's still searching for the world title. But he goes in there and beat Deontay Wilder, who is a former WBC king. And they celebrate Zhang like he just beat Wilder for the title, and Wilder was undefeated. This man had 43 victories at one point. And he was undefeated with 42 knockouts. And you still had U.S. boxing fans freaking complaining. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. This man has 48 fights, two before he reached 50. Nobody's talking about no celebration. Nobody's talking about anything. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's moments like this where you have to say, you know, if you look at this little moment right here in Tuscaloosa, the reason why I put it up there all the time is because when you meet fighters in person, then you have a different perspective as to who they are as human beings, especially when it comes to age. Me, right there, I'm older than Deontay Wilder. I mean, very much older than Wilder. When it comes to having the opportunity to meet him during my time, while I'm still, you know, competent enough to know who he was, when he was undefeated, when he was reigning defending, I tell people all the time, my perspective will always be different. Will always be different. Because that is considered, you know, when I hear the laughter saying that was my Muhammad Ali of this era, who am I supposed to say? We have a black U.S. heavyweight champion on deck, knocking cats out, and he doesn't fit the nomenclature of a typically fundamentally sound boxer. He's quite unorthodox. He has power, crazy power, the heaviest hitter the sport has seen in a long time. But they try to say he didn't fight nobody. You know what I'm saying? But yet I see Derek Chisora. He's over there about to get a goodbye. You know what I'm saying? They about to give him all the freaking dressing, the pyrotechnics. They about to link it up, y'all. They about to get this man a going away like he's never, like he was damn in Deontay Wilder. He defended his title 10 successful times and just lost it. They about to get this man the going away that you're supposed to give these warriors. And you know, Wilder of all people, it's so much to brag on him about. Because, you know, the way he came up fast, you know, going into the sport to do something honorable, to take care of his family, his daughter, he has spina bifida, you know what I'm saying? That's his family, right? So a grown man said, I have responsibilities as a grown man to go out here and make a living. I need to be a provider. But not everybody can say, I'm going to be a provider and go into professional boxing. Not everybody going to say, damn, I don't have an extensive amateur career. Let me go and try to make the Olympics and make the Olympics. And let me try to go fight for a medal, being that I don't have the total package of that amateur pedigree. And is the only U.S. fighter, you know what I'm saying, that time brought home a medal, a bronze medal. And, you know, people just downplay it. They devalue how much grace they should be put on Deontay Wilder's Olympic berth. You know what I'm saying? They downplay the bronze bomber. You know, they nitpick every single time he does anything that people can break down and critique and shred and split it into pieces and just say, you know what, we don't want anybody to see the real picture, so we're going to make this look like a kaleidoscope, keep it a little distorted, keep it a little fuzzy, you know, have them do a lot of work to the point where they just give up on him. That's what the news is about Wilder. You know, you hear some shit about him, and if you're a casual fan, you're like, huh? Oh, this guy wasn't that good. You got to go do the research. When Deontay Wilder is in the Hall of Fame, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be special. If I take Derek Chisora, okay, people is treating him, I can imagine what his Hall of Fame gonna be like, because that dude is a warrior, just like Wilder. But when it comes to the achievements, Wilder has done more than Chisora. He may not have the names on his resume as Chisora, but how do we equate that to greatness? When you step in the ring with some of the bigger names and don't get the W. How do you equate that? You know what I'm saying? Don't we have to also grade it when a person fought sub-name fighters? The fighters that we considered solid names, like a Joseph Parker, who has lost already several times. Does the temperature given to Joseph Parker, is that criticism balanced the same as the criticism we give Wilder? I would say no, right? But I always look at, you can tell U.S. boxing fans and how they begin their bulletized list of criticism. They will always start with the negative. You see it, you hear it so many times on how U.S. fight fans start with the negative. That is called hating. When you have a fight fan, a fight consumer, that mentions a fighter name and the first thing out their mouth is something that they believe they didn't do, or something they did that they didn't like, or they're trying to mollify something they did that's considered to be greatness, they want to say, oh, it wasn't this because of that and the other. Fight fans need to understand, especially in the U.S., that don't be mad when fans be saying F the fans, F that, because in the U.S., we are the worst. We are the worst boxing fans in the world. I don't think there's any other country is worse than we are. We are the worst boxing fans. These guys sit up here and women too, and talk so much shit about these fighters and couldn't even get through 2 weeks of fight camp. If you ask, a lot of these guys are going to run, they ain't never ran 3 miles, 4 miles. They ain't never ran no 3 miles. And then if they did, when they come back, they talking about they need to go get a damn whole IV. I need a banana bag ASAP. No, just drink some water. No, I don't think I'm going to make it. I don't think I'm going to make it. You know, if you tell them they had 30 minutes to be at the gym, to really start working on their second part of their training for boxing. No, we just ran 5 miles. You mean I got to go in there and do something that's actual dealing with? Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, all the trash talking and shit talking you was doing online, this is the parts of training that you have to go through. No, man, I was just talking. I'd rather just do a thumbnail. I don't lose my breath on a thumbnail now. I don't lose my breath creating a live. My fingers are in shape. Well, I'm glad you said that, because since your fingertips are in shape, we want to get your shoulders, biceps, elbows, forearms, wrists, knuckle set. You know what I'm saying? And your hands in shape now. And we want to get that mind calibrated so you can learn some things, to do repetition to improve your skills as a average, irrelevant boxer. Why I got to be irrelevant? Because you're not in the rankings and you're not in the sport to do anything great. You're just a talker. So we're here to take you through the training process so you can learn. Man, I get it. I get the point now. You're doing too much. I get the point. They say, I get the point. Where the spit bucket? I got to throw up. Where the spit bucket? I'm out of here. Hey, man, you got too many people that want to talk. But they don't lead with respect. It's a, oh my God. Boy, it's a cocktail of poison, ain't it? The U.S. fight fans go through. I just wanted to talk briefly on this with Derek Chisora. Respect to Derek Chisora, man, going in for his 50th fight. But Deontay Wilder has 2 fights from 50, and no one's really talking with respect. This man didn't reign for 10 years, and the fact that it's not a heavyweight champion. I mean, a heavyweight potential. Forget a prospect, a potential that's out there to become heavyweight champion in the next 5 years. Where are they? I heard someone say Richard Torres. I'm still thinking Jared Anderson has the potential to come back. I don't know what that potential is on a scale of 1 to 10. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how long it's going to take him to recover. But, where the belts are at and how any U.S. heavyweight is going to be able to infiltrate that's the biggest question to me. I know Richie is out there, Richie Torres, strong, tenacious, gritty fighter, but he has a lot of work to do on his fundamentals as a heavyweight, because the way he just, beating up his opposition, they're pretty much made for Richie. They're Richie made. They're C-level opposition. Jared Anderson fought Charles Martin, who was a former champion who Joshua defeated, right, when he had that belt. And that was his step-up fight. He got through it. He won. He took a Piccoli fight, which, depending on how you looked at Piccoli, those of you that did your homework, you would say, this is going to be a tough fight. I don't think anyone was saying that this was going to be an easy fight for Jared Anderson. He goes in there and get knocked out. He goes in there and gets stopped. It happens in the game. But see, with Wilder didn't face a knockout at that point in his career. You know what I'm saying? People will always mask up and just sit up here and finger point and tell a fighter what they didn't do, what they were supposed to do. But then you look entirely ignorant and stupid to the sport when you cannot compare another fighter that has done it the way Wilder did it. Chisora may have the names on there, but like I said, where's the chip? Where's the chip? They can talk about Anthony Joshua all they want, but when it came down for him, he lost to a last-minute replacement and then lost to his arguably his best, opposition in Alexander Usyk. He wasn't able to get his title back. And when he did go back up there for a title, the way he went out against Daniel Dubois, no one wants to talk about it like they talk about Wilder being defeated by Joseph Parker and Zhang. They don't. People tell you, oh, I like Joseph Parker. I like Joseph Parker. A lot of these cats don't even know anything about Joseph Parker except who he fought. His memorable fights. That's it. They don't really know about Joseph Parker. They can't tell you too much about his ups and downs in his career. Joseph Parker name get talked about mostly right now for him defeating Wilder, even though he's been in there with some of the other big names. He even hurt Wilder and couldn't even put him out. But Wilder's supposed to be pushed out into retirement and all this shit, like it's nothing. But shout out to Derek Chisora. You're a warrior. I gotta give you that. You are an absolute warrior. Much respect to Derek Chisora. And also, that going away, salute to him, man. You know what I'm saying? Salute to him on his 50th fight. Let's talk about Caleb Plant. Okay, so I wanted to play you a clip of Jamal Charlo pretty much saying he'd give us Caleb Plant. Now, he was in the dark, of course. And, I don't know why Jamal Charlo always sound like he's leaving freaking Applebee's happy hour. I don't freaking know. But he said, y'all want me to give you Caleb Plant? I give you Caleb Plant. I don't know. I don't know if that's just him. You know what I'm saying? And how his speech is right now, I don't freaking know. But would I like to see a Jamal Charlo and Caleb Plant? Sure. Absolutely. Only if Jamal Charlo takes it serious and 100%. Because right now, Caleb Plant is saying he's disrespected by the new rankings that came out. This is Boxing News 24. Say Plant shake up, real or fake. So let me show you the new rankings that came out. Okay, Ring Magazine came out with the super middleweight rankings, and they have Canelo Alvarez number 1, Christian and Billy 2, Diego Pacheco 3, Iglesias number 4, Caleb Plant number 5. Behind Caleb Plant is William Skull. Okay, that's always puzzling to me, that a champion can be behind some non-champions. And Billy doesn't have a belt, Pacheco doesn't have a belt, and Iglesias don't have a belt, right? And we all know Caleb Plant don't have a belt. So how the Skull is behind all these guys when Caleb Plant potentially may be next for Skull to step in the ring with? That's what I don't get. Dougie Fish, I would like for you to explain how this process works. You know, if Canelo has all the other belts and Skull has his belt, and he's what? He's fought for it, right? Didn't he win? If William Skull won while he was champion, or got the belt, however that shit worked, then he's a legitimate champion, right? Why wouldn't he be number 2 behind Canelo if he has the other stone? And then you have Bruno Saras, Jaime Munguia, Edgar Berlanga, and Eric Bazinian. So Caleb Plant is feeling some type of way. So he put it out there, and he wasn't happy. Okay? He's talking about the newcomers. Let me go down here. Say the former IBF super middleweight champion, Caleb Plant, 23-2, 14 hosted knockouts, isn't saying who he plans on defeating to get moved up to the number 1 ranking with the ring, but it's going to have to be someone a lot better than the 2 names he frequently chirps about wanting to fight, Jamal Charlo and Edgar Berlanga. Those are not top 10 level fights. Now, once again, we're reading Boxing News 24 that would show a ranking committee that Caleb Plant rates being positioned at number 1 or 2 at super middleweight. Those would be business level fights rather than ones showing that Plant is the top dog at 168. Now, for those of you that may not know what business level, a money for fight. I mean, a fight for money. Okay. Business. You're just doing business. It's there for both fighters to get paid, and we already know pretty much who's going to win the fight. That's what they was trying to imply. Jamal is nearing 35, has only fought once since 2021 and looked washed. I disagree. You know what I'm saying? I disagree. It's something to me to educate you all that Boxing News is their segue is so biased that I feel that I should definitely read up on it and educate those about the bias so they won't just stumble upon this article and think it's real life and think they're being organic about it. It says Berlanga is just a guy with a manufactured resume who is nowhere near top tier. He's a creation more than a true fighter. It's pathetic that Plant is targeting him instead of one of the true talents ranked above him. It gives a glimpse into how he's about. Hold on for a second. Let me take this down. My bad. Glimpse into how he's all about. He's trying to cut corners to take a backdoor route. Now, they pretty much show you Canelo. The top 5 would be including Canelo all the way to Caleb Plant, which would be number 5 on the top 10 super middleweight rankings per the Ring Mag. Okay, they put King Canelo, right? So that's one thing about Canelo that my conversation has been intensive about, is that when it comes to Canelo, these Canelo fans always lead with these over the top positives that Canelo have, and he does have some positive in his career. But if he does, other fighters do. So I'm just saying, Be amicable about it. That's all. Be fair. It's okay to lead with fairness instead of just leading with freaking contentiousness and malicious insults and derogatory shit on a fighter as if they haven't did anything just because you want to highlight your fighters being better. It's a Plant would need to defeat these guys right here, Iglesias, Pacheco, and Billy, to take the top spot in the ring rankings. Interestingly, Plant isn't talking about wanting to fight any of those fighters. Instead, he appears to be taking the backdoor route, beating one of the two easy marks, then likely hoping he's vaulted to the top of the rankings. Now, I don't believe that at all. I think he did well against Macombi. He switched it up. He ended up getting a victory. They go down here and say, the king of the division is Canelo Alvarez, but he hasn't fought anyone risky in many years and is more of a figurehead than a true monarch. He's holding his position on what he did in the distance past rather than the quality wins in the last 7 years. And, you know, they still kept it nice with that. He's fighting more of a figurehead than a monarch. They keep it very nice. But other fighters, you hear them just trash him, man. They pick up the can and toss it. For real. They pick up the trash can and toss it, tilt it over and toss everything out of the bag and all that shit, man. You know, like I presented to you, this is Caleb Plant's freaking tweet. And he had the top 10 in super middleweight division. This was released yesterday. And he said he's looking to shake it up. What do you think? You think Caleb Plant can shake it up when it comes to where he's placed at number 5 when it comes to the Ring Magazine rankings? I think he can. I think he can. If he feels, you know, confident with himself as far as his skill set, his experience, him already being a champion, of course people will say, well, I'd like to see Caleb Plant against Pacheco. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'd like to see Pacheco against Billy. I'd like to see Plant against Billy. I mean, those two names, Billy and Pacheco, to me, are two of the top names out there. You know, when it comes to William Skull, people have been trying their best to inject that intrigue into Skull. You know what I'm saying? That upset intrigue. They're trying their best to inject the shock value into Skull if he is to step in there with Canelo Alvarez. They're trying their hardest, man. They're trying to act like this is going to be Canelo's oops, I didn't know how tough he was moment. It's not going to happen, yo. This is not going to be a Buster Douglas moment. It's not happening. This is not going to be a Ricardo Mayorga moment. No. This is not going to be Ricardo Mayorga, Vernon Forrest moment. No. William Skull getting that ass beat. It's up to Canelo on whether he go 12 rounds or not. Skull is not on the level of a freaking Alvarez, and he's not going to hit a different peak. He's not going to addition another tier to who he is as a fighter by going in there and freaking giving Alvarez one of the toughest fights he ever had in his life. It's not happening. That's going to be in September. All right. That's going to be in September. Real talk. I can tell you that for sure. Shout out to the chat, man. I see y'all on deck. What's good, man? Shout out to IOTBA Boxing Talk, the GOAT on deck. What's good with the IO? I see you in the building. BGSC, Bud Gun Stop Canelo in the building. What it do, man? I see you. The MACKMOBB, the Mac Mob is on deck. What it do, B Mac? Man, like the live streams upon your return, bro. You know what I'm saying? Good to see you back on deck, man. You know what I'm saying? Lighting up these airways with that boxing talk. Carlos Rosado is in the building. What it do, Carlos? I see you, man. Fulton had me in tears with his uniform on fight night. You know, me growing up in the 80s and 90s and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't see no problem with it, man. Because boxers go in there with all sorts of outfits and uniforms, but ultimately that isn't what get them paid. What get them paid is the results from how they perform to get the victory. I thought he switched it up. I like the creativity, for real. I mean, people was shitting on him like he came in there with a shit stain on it, like he was eating a motherfucking hot dog, a glizzy before he came to the ring or something. You know what I'm saying? He man, he had like he had chocolate icing all over the front of his pants, and people think he shitted on himself. It was crazy how they was hating on that dude. On the Brown, what they do, man? I see you in the building. Yeah, go Birds, man. The Eagles got it done. You know what I'm saying? I know Philly. It's a lot of people that still laid over this morning from celebrating in the streets. I'm happy for them, man. I wish the Atlanta Falcons can fly. But every time they do, oh man, the feathers are still freaking ripped apart from when the Patriots came down here. You know what I'm saying? We can't get no elevation that we need for a Super Bowl. I did send a tweet out. To Patrick Mahomes. I sent a tweet out, and I said, "Hey man, come on down here. Let me know ahead of time so I can set you up for your black card so you can get in all the exotic strip clubs down here after practice. You know what I'm saying? Get you acclimated to how we do things. But we need you down here in Atlanta, man. I think your time at Kansas is done. I think Philly's going to come in here next year. If everything hold up, no injuries, I think they're going to repeat." The OG, Bruce Gas, Boxer Jazz, and more. What's good with it, Bruce? I see you. I get to that. IO. I saw that on your thumbnail. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, boxing fans have their own um, opinions about what the fight is gonna be. You know what I'm saying? When it comes up to this right here. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight, Philly winning, Stephen Fulton, Andy Cruz, 2-0 for Bosie's camp. And next, potentially, is Jerron Ennis, Stantionis. Let's see how Jerron Ennis make that shit happen. You know what I'm saying? He got to make that shit happen, real talk. He has to make it happen. It has to happen. Real talk. Let me send this up right quick. I thought I did it. Hold on for a second. So let me get that right there. Let me see. Okay. Okay, I want to talk about the blasphemy that took place that also was blended in with karma. I loved it. I loved it. I did. I loved it. No doubt about it. I love how karma brought her ass over here in 2025 acting brand new. I loved it. I loved it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I love that. I love to see that shit. Karma came up here prancing around and to my y'all must have forgot who I be. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about, first and foremost, I sent Turkey Al Sheik a prioritized tweet. And I said, Turkey Al Sheik respectfully. Of course, he holds a position, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just showing common courtesy, but that's not my president though. And that's not anybody I worship. I know when they come over here to US Fight Fan, all you hear them say, Your Excellency, please They show so much respect that they don't show to their own, U.S. citizens. I said, Turkey Alley Sheep, respectfully, it's imperative that I ask you to consider publicly apologizing for poor judgment, green lighting a 48-hour window to make others believe false information. It's abhorrently devious. Just like you, I'm being honest and asking your consideration. Yes, I sent Turkey Alley Sheik this. And, he probably looked at this and did a little research on me, and he didn't feel like he needed to apologize just yet. Because he's probably saying to himself and his people, how dare he? How dare he? But see, I put it out there because no others wouldn't, because they didn't care. But I felt some type of way when I was providing Turkey Alley Sheik his flowers, so to speak, giving him his plaudits, kudos, and what he doing for the sport of boxing, giving us the fights. But he felt it was okay to green light the boxing community with false information. Now, there's a good and a bad to this. There are pro and a con. Absolutely. What he did is pretty much took out the ruler and start smacking hands. There's been a lot of content creators putting out fake information. So what Turkey Alley Sheik did is said, hey, I'm going to contribute to you for 48 hours. I'm going to put some false information out there that I know you're going to love, and you're going to be running your ass around for 48 hours to talk about it. He played him, but he puppetized him. I always say the hocus pocus of boxing. He showed you how the puppet master operates. He just haven't really, he's been one of the only ones in a top position. Mike Carpenter, Idick, Raphael, they couldn't do it, even though they have put out some wrong information. But he purposely put out fake information. He green-lighted a 48-hour window to have people running around here just because of what he's seeing out here going on between Canelo and Paul and all that. He purposely did this shit. He said, M-A-K-E, I make. That to me was disingenuous. That to me probably won't be the last time he does it. He felt he can do it. And unfortunately for some of you all, even in the chat, you was double timing your ass around this YouTube community, believing that Crawford and Canelo wasn't going to happen. And I understand that on this past Sunday, you was on your knees asking God for forgiveness. I get it. I do. That's the easiest way and the most healthiest way to basically get those transgressions off your heart, relieve yourself of unneeded stress, is to ask God for forgiveness on a Sunday. I don't know if you went to church to do that. But anyway, shape or form, you was able to get it off your chest. Now, I felt it was very, very important that Turkey Alley Sheik, me adding him, because I just thought it was wrong. We have enough fake information going on between boxing outlets. You have a lot of people that's dependent on you now, especially over here in the U.S. They treat you as if you are the Messiah, that Turkey Alley Sheik. They treat you if you are the Messiah. And they felt when the Messiah was going to make Canelo Jake Paul and you put that information out, they went to laugh and chuckle, tear jerkers, that Canelo and Crawford wasn't happening. What did WCS say? I just think they did that to basically compress the focus into Canelo Jake Paul. I think the fight is still happening. There's no way a fight of that magnitude can't happen. And guess what? I was kind of spot on with that. The fight is still happening. And the Jake Paul Canelo fight has burned because it was never built up anyway. It was just like the Three Little Pigs. You know what I'm saying? The house with straw. That's all it was. It was something that was temporarily built. It wasn't going to stand up to inclement weather, especially fire. And Turkey Alley Sheik just built that shit up real nice and made it look like something. And before you know it, it was smoldering. That's all. But you want to know what else was smoldering? Was the content creators. who was laughing their ass off as if Crawford and Canelo wasn't going to happen. Now, what I think about this fight when it comes to the great, you know what I'm saying? What I think about this fight and what this man has been able to do is that he absolutely has an opportunity. He has a huge opportunity to come in at a weight where he pretty much fought Israel Madrimov as a super middleweight. Pretty much. People want to look at it like he didn't. But if the weight was 154, he pretty much was like somewhere in the 160s when he cut down, rehydrated to step in there with Madrimov. Now, there is footage out there of the Madrimov fight. And the great thing about it is there's plenty of footage out there for Team Canelo to look at Crawford. But I hope they also listen to what Crawford said. He said, I really don't look at fight film like that too heavy. I leave it up to my coaches because that fighter's not going to fight me the same way. All right? But also, I have to flip over to what Bomac them said of how long they've been watching Canelo. How long they've been studying film on Canelo. If you look at it, and you know I'm telling the truth, people, I don't have to be right all the time. But you know I'm spot on when I tell you that Canelo, at this point in his career, his style is no different than Errol Spence. Yeah, say, oh my God. Oh, how dare he? I said it. I said it. I will say it again. Canelo's style is no different than Errol Spence, really. Let me explain what I mean by that. When people look at how Crawford fights, he has multiple dimensions and versatility to his skill set. All right? People may talk about, once again, when people mention Crawford, the haters, what do? They talk about how he looked in a Madrimov fight, right? But if you ask them about his fights at the welterweight division, they're not going to tell you that Crawford fights the same way every single time he fights his opponents. But as of late, if you look at Canelo's last 5 fights, he's been fighting all his opponents damn near the same style. He ain't switched up nothing. He had a surgery, came back and fought John Ryder. He didn't do shit. That was superb. People, look, you got fight fans up here that's saying, oh my God, he like punching him in the left arm. Isn't that a dimension? Don't you hear that all the time? Canelo, he's punching arms. He's punching arms. He's punching arms. He knows how to cut off the ring. But is he as versatile as Crawford? To me, Canelo Alvarez is basically that compressed fighter at this stage in the game that lacks versatility. You know, he'll stand there flat-footed and people always talking about Crawford stand there and bang out with Canelo. Is that logical? Because y'all always saying that Crawford's too small. Is it logical for him to bang out with Canelo? It's called boxing at the end of the day, right? So what you want, because you believe it's going to be adverse results, is for him to go in there and placate Canelo and stand right there in front of him and box. Yeah, you're hoping that. Because a lot of people believe the complimentary Starbucks give you 2 shots of espresso knockdown that his last 4 opponents has received. They believe that Canelo has the power. Okay, he had the power to knock down these fighters once. Man, come on, why you didn't finish him? Canelo heading into this fight is no different than Errol Spence, bro. No different than Errol Spence. 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 I said it. Nobody else is going to have the cojones to say it. What's so goddamn different about what Canelo does this stage in his game? What's so different? No one's going to tell you that they believe they seen all of Crawford. You got that one dummy out there that said that Crawford's stupid for not using all his skill set. But the only fighter he talk about every other freaking day is Crawford. He said Crawford's stupid. He always want to get the dog. There's so many people when it comes to Crawford, when it comes to the hate, they'll lead with the negative. It's not in them to say the positive on what he presents for a challenge with Canelo. And that, my friends, is going to be a valuable teaching lesson come September. Hopefully everything works out, no injuries, both fighters are able to make it, because they say that Crawford is the oldest fighter, right? Crawford just came on once again, suited and booted, weighing 186. Let me get to some of those in the chat right quick. All right. Let me go back to IO's comment, because he did a live stream where he tried to depict Crawford as being some type of sacrifice. I don't know if it was Illuminati. I don't know if we're talking about the Last Supper. I don't know what sacrifice. It can't be anything dealing with boxing because he's undefeated. You know what I'm saying? Crawford's undefeated. We know that. Canelo, it doesn't take someone, even somebody with glaucoma, severe glaucoma and cataracts can see that Canelo has 2 losses on his record. I mean, that's all I'm saying. I mean, you can spray OC spray in somebody's eye right now for training and tell them to look at the box rec, and they don't know shit about boxing, never seen Canelo, and tell me what you see. Oh, he has 2. He has 2 losses. That's what I see. Good. That's what I thought. I want to talk about Wilder and the A side. I was talking about his history and what he's been able to build as a world-class fighter, and what his accomplishments will basically solidify, will have already solidified him as a future Hall of Famer. There's no stopping that. But with 43 victories, he only has 4 losses. Derek Chisora is praised, and that man has double-digit 13 losses. Let me go back to some right quick. He said, I can't wait to see, because if Bud pull it off, that would be shocking. I think it'll be shocking only to those who are not on the side of Crawford and understands that, like I said before, all the time, the ones who support Bud speak about Bud greatness and what his ability is. Those who don't support Bud, they talk about Bud based off what they believe he can't do, what he won't do, and what he's not gonna do. They pretty much neglect the fighter. You understand how the acutely delusional that is? Like, they'll talk about, just like they abandoned Spence the whole time they supposed to have been talking about him and how great he was. You know what I'm saying? To build up that Texas name. And the algorithm was all Bud Crawford, the hottest topic on the YTC. Bud Crawford. Bud can't do this. Bud ain't gonna be able to do that. What about Spence, though? We'll get to him later. He ain't in the algorithm like Bud. Every other day, they had a Bud Crawford in their title for the algorithm. Now, if that ain't selfish, I don't know what is. That is selfish as hell, bro. To keep it 1,000, Wilder not the same anymore. Chisora got it, but that doesn't take away. Wilder beats Chisora right now. People can say, a fighter who constantly loses, he still got it? Not too long ago, he just came off multiple losses. Wilder has 4 losses. Chisora's been knocked out more losses than Deontay Wilder has. You know what I'm saying? Deontay has 3 KOs from 4 losses. And you look at Chisora's record, he's been stopped more times than Deontay Wilder has knockouts. Somebody explain that to me. Please, somebody explain that. Ring always ranked the fighters on their own merit, not the alphabet rating. I just like to know, what is some criteria, some points of references. What are they resource? I know it's a voting. I know that. But what is the conversation like? What are some points of referencing as to their grading criteria? Are they doing deductive reasoning? Just presenting evidence on certain fights that mean a lot to elevate or reduce the grading scale? I don't know. Latch Puma in the building. What they do, man? Big Blunts and Boxing in the building. What's good with it? Al said, W says, do you feel Crawford is a sacrificial lamb for Canelo? Like I said before, I know I talk my shit with Crawford just like other people talk their shit, but mine is pretty much, I don't get into something that I don't deem that's impossible. I think it's possible. It's possibility there. It's a percentage of possible. You know what I'm saying? There's a possible percentage that Crawford can beat Canelo. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to rout Canelo. I said he's no different than Spence. I stand on that. Canelo's style is no different than Spence right now, in my opinion. As I look at them, I see the same Canelo doing the same shit all over again. He do the same shit, bro. He do the same stuff over and over again right now. Look at his last 4 fights, man. He's not doing anything special. Just like Spence wasn't doing anything special. And you saw what Crawford did to Spence. Now, people are going to sit up here and say, like they goddamn going to a crisis, man. A tuberculosis. Be leaving voice freaking DMs. Man, now wham, man. I lost my voice yelling about the bullshit you said about Canelo being the same as Spence. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. Give me my inhaler. Give me my inhaler. Let me calm down. I mean, these must be losing their goddamn mind. They be losing their freaking mind because they want to say the same thing all the time. Not once have anybody heard me say that I believe Crawford is going to go in there and stop Canelo. I believe Crawford can win via decision, or there's a light percentage of a TKO stoppage, which deals with the referee stopping the fight. Now, what I do understand about combat sports and certain things I was taught overseas when I was, on the clock studying some of these is that the professors over there explain to you that the chin is different, the jawline is different, the mind is different in combat sports. People look at boxers and, from the Japanese professors, their way of explaining not getting hit is to understand what proper respective distance is, smart choices, decision making on when to close distance, get in close. If you're going to do it, you do it abruptly. You do it aggressively. You don't go in slow motion and you're contemplating. You got to be fully committed. In boxing, the chin, the gloves that the fighters have is protect the fighter's hands. But with those gloves, depending on what type of style that boxer has, it does damage to their opponent. We see with bare knuckle fighting, if you remove the gloves, damage comes quicker than it does in boxing sometimes. Now, granted, looking at Terrence Crawford, I was amazed that he was able to start busting up Spence in the second round. And as I look at that fight all the time, I would say, man, his accuracy is unbelievable. His timing is unbelievable. But then you had people saying that, oh, if you go back to the Avanesian fight, something was wrong with his gloves and he had busted gloves and all this other stuff. Then again, there's pictures out there of Crawford having big hands. You know what I'm saying? But back to my point, when it comes to the jawline and the chin, and when you have, I love this about the Japanese professors. They'll tell you that if you have a remediated timing on the fundamentals of any type of strike that you want to execute, it can be one strike. Just like Bruce Lee practicing 1,000 times, right? That one strike can get through and do damage, and you don't have to use anything else that you have. That depending on the level of opposition or the person that's in front of you. But the mind is connected always to the head. Okay? They said that a person being knocked out doesn't always have to be constituted by a blow to the head. But if there is a blow to the head, how do you train the head to sustain the blow when it comes to being knocked out? So when it comes to Terrence Crawford supposedly being too small, why do so many people believe that if you take the cranium composition of measurement of Canelo's head and Crawford's head, you know what I'm talking about? So you take them, right? Does that have to do with the 168 pounds? If the shot lands, if the strike lands on the jawline, I'm not trying to get philosophical. I'm not trying to take you through entire medical examination based off my unqualified prognosis, okay? Only thing I'm saying is I believe that when it comes to what sits on top of our shoulders, everybody's cranium is different. Also, with each human being, Canelo and Crawford, the level of experience, in my opinion, is equal. Period. Because if you take away those previous fights that Canelo had in Mexico, you can't count them because we don't consider them as being top competition. Those are just feathers in the pillow. Those are just fluffing up his resume so he can have over 65 plus fights. I mean, come on now. Over half his resume, his attendance was in Mexico. But when you look at what sits on top of their shoulders, how their brain is wired, their IQ and the way they think, their intelligence as a fighter, anybody can get knocked out. Anybody. I don't know why people believe that if we was talking about getting hit in the shoulders, what would that have to entail? What would that have to entail? You have to train. You have to have somebody do body hardening. In the military, when we was doing combat training a lot, I always told you we used to grapple in the sand because, when it comes down to it, you end up being blinded by the sand and you have to grapple based off feeling. When it comes to, the striking, I don't know why it's so difficult for people to see that. What exercise are you doing in the gym? Besides body hardening, what are you doing to train someone hitting you in the shoulder? You have someone hit you in the shoulder, right? Just like kicks. How do you how do you toughen the nerves on your quads and your shin? You have to constantly be kicked, and there's certain other tools like plywood and everything that you use to deaden those nerves. So when you get kicked, it doesn't hurt as much, right? Unless when you move up the competition and somebody else that you're fighting has deadened nerves, but they have faster kicks, harder kicks. I don't know why people act like Crawford cannot knock out Canelo. I don't know why they believe that's impossible. The way he treated Spence, He didn't knock him out cold, right? So that's why you haven't heard me say that he's gonna run over freaking Canelo and knock him out. But what I did say heading into the Spence fight, I said it's a high possibility that Crawford can get the TKO stoppage. For real. I believe he can get the TKO stoppage. That's what I said heading into the Spence fight. And he ended up getting a TKO stoppage in the 9th round. For 8 rounds, starting with the second, what Crawford was able to do is switch it up. He was off the back foot. He was countering. He was leading. His first knockdown came from a jab. There's a lot of areas to appreciate about Crawford's skill set. But when you get to the naysayers that was out here laughing, joking, and thinking it was comedic to think that Errol Spence, the heavier fighter, was supposedly allegedly deemed the boogeyman, was beat up so easily, then they went to the car crash. That's all I'm saying. They went to the car crash, bro. Real talk. Let's say, and people keep bringing up Crawford getting hurt by Gamboa and dropped by Mean Machine. They fail to realize is that both were stopped. It's the end result that counts in boxing. Man, talk that, man. Talk that fire, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man. Talk that fire. Shout out to Lash Pillman, man. Yes, in the sport of boxing. Not just a content creator or anything like that. Did y'all read what did y'all hear what he just said? Because that's true words at the end of the day. Let me go back and because I still can fathom, like, if you read the back end of what he mentioned, he said it's the end result that counts in boxing. If that is one of the most sharpest conclusions that pretty much encompasses boxing as a whole. Boxers get graded when it comes to win or lose off the end result. That's what counts in boxing. That is factual from start to finish and back to the start. It doesn't get any more concise than that. It's the end result. What is the end result? What is the end result? But of course, we're in a community of people that do what? They're consciously biased, and they want to act like they have selective amnesia. So when you hear Puma talk about it's the end result that counts in boxing, these cats want to talk about stuff that happened back in Gamboa. No. For him to get those 41 victories, now he was hurt. What was the end result, though? No. He was hurt. He was hurt. Let's just talk about him being hurt. Check this out. He fought Yorkis Gamboa all the way back in 2014. All the way back in 2014, y'all. June 2014. Don't you know we're coming up on the 11th year? June 2014, we're coming up on the 11th year of the Gamboa scandal. The reason why I call it the Gamboa scandal, because supposedly fight fans that watch the fight over and over again on YouTube cannot understand that Gamboa was down in the 5th, the 8th, and twice in the 9th. Once again, Gamboa was down in the 5th, 8th, twice in the 9th. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. So 4 times he was down in that fight before it was stopped in the 9th round. Okay? So what I'm trying to tell you is that when you hear people talk about Gamboa and allowing this man to continue to get paid off you mentioning his name, it doesn't make any sense to consider you as a hardcore boxing fan, because Crawford stopped him in the 9th round the same as he did with Spence. So that pretty much elevate what Puma just said even more. It's the end result that counts in boxing. The end result of Spence in the 9th round stoppage is what people look at, like myself. The end result of Gamboa, who is still used to debate how good Crawford isn't happened almost like 11 years ago. And the end result said that he was dropped 4 times and stopped in the 9th round. Then if you move up to Igor Kavalauskas, right? He fought him December 2019. If you read BoxRec, let me take this down. Check this out. If you read BoxRec, since it was mentioned up, and salute to Latch Puma for a very concise point made. If you look at this with Igor Kavalauskas back in December 2019, you would note that there's nothing down here about Terrence Crawford being knocked down. Once again, when you want to decipher through the BS, why don't y'all bring up Jose Cotto every time you bring up Gamboa? Why is it so difficult for you all to bring up Jose Cotto like you bring up Gamboa? Didn't Cotto hurt Canelo Alvarez in their fight? But it never comes up like Gamboa comes up to Crawford. Why? Didn't he hurt Crawford in the 9th round? Didn't Crawford stop him in the 9th round? If I'm correct. I think he did. The same round that y'all talk about, he hurt Crawford, he stopped him in the same round, I believe. But I just don't know why when Cotto doesn't come first when they're talking about Canelo and who he had problem with. When it comes to the Aries landed Laura, freaking split decision win. See, another thing, when I scrub Crawford's resume, he doesn't have SDs. He doesn't have MDs. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen a D on there, a draw. I haven't seen a SD, split decision. I haven't seen a majority decision. I haven't seen none of that on Crawford's record. But yet you will hear people talk about Crawford struggling with Igor Kavalauskas and Yorkis Gamboa. It's crazy that they even mentioned Gamboa going on the 11-year anniversary after all of what Crawford has accomplished. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, bro. This shit is crazy. Really, really, really is. It's very crazy. To answer Io's question, I don't feel that Crawford is a sacrificial lamb to anyone. I think at this point of Crawford's career, what more do you expect and want fighters to do? You want them to challenge the best, but it has to be your favorite fighter. It has to be in your benefit. One thing about my favorite fighters, like I said when I was rocking with T.O. Heavy, my favorite fighters, I don't want them to go in there and have an easy fight and I'm up here cheering them. My competitive spirit in life isn't like that. I've never thought like that as a human being. I never wanted to go in there versus somebody who was already limp, a gimp, injury, had an injury or something like that. No, I want them to be, healthy. I mean, what benefit do I have? It's just some people think about that different. Some people would like the advantage. It's not the way I think, though. Did you know in 1976 there was only one champion from the U.S., and that was Ali? Boxing survived, as it always will. Dang. I'm looking on the horizon. You know what I'm saying? With how the sun's out, Bruce, and you're looking over the horizon with the palms down, like you running salute, but you're just shading the sunlight, and you're trying to see when the next U.S. heavyweight champion is gonna be on deck. It's so far away I can't even see it. I gotta grab a pair of binos. For real. I got to grab a pair of binos. The best fighter get hit, and it all counts on how you come back. And Crawford showed he can do that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally agree. To not respect that when these individuals consider themselves hardcores, I don't know what to say. I don't, it's stuff that I can say, but I don't know what to say in response to helping them out. Like, I'm not here to give prognosis of people who are looking at fighting for through just one optic, and that optic isn't clear. It's kind of fogged up. You know what I'm saying? It lacks education in areas where they refuse to go to enhance their knowledge about the sport. They deny it. They reject it. So they're not even casuals. They just stubborn boxing fans is out here that just don't want to educate themselves on the facts. My favorite fan, I never want them to go in there and take easy fights and be fighting, what they call, mediocre C-level fighters. I always said that, even Wilder, when he was fighting Fury. I thought it was a great competitive matchup for him, for a former unified champion. You know what I'm saying? I just Doug Fisher a testing, asking him what criteria determines the ring ratings should be interesting. Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that, Bruce. I'd definitely like to know outside of the voting system. I'd like to know that. Crawford posts his weight on IG is still on there. Did you get a chance? Yeah, I mentioned that earlier there, Blunts. I don't think he was in the chat. I mentioned that earlier. Shout out to Thomas on deck. He said, congrats, Eagles. Yeah, congrats to the Eagles, man. They did their thing. Crawford needs to fight off the back foot on the counter and front foot on that jab. It depends on if Canelo selects to pressure Crawford like he did Caleb Plant, like he did Jaime Munguia, some of those fighters. Because I have to look at it from this perspective, that Canelo, even though he said Crawford's going to be easy work, a part of him may believe that based off who he's been in the ring with. Canelo's been in there with bigger guys than Crawford. He has. He's been in there with Dimitri Bivol, who was a bigger fighter in my opinion on fight night, but his strategy to stay active with his punch combinations and keep his distance well. When Canelo was pushed back up against the ropes, Bivol just stayed at the front door. He didn't go in and oblige Canelo and give him that hospitality that Canelo wanted, to use them counter shots and try to catch him coming in reckless. Crawford, on the other hand, I don't know how Canelo's thought process is in respecting Crawford's power. Once again, they never sparred each other. Only thing that he has is, based off Crawford's footage that he has out there, of course, he's definitely looking at the Spence fight and talking about counters and front foot on the jab. Terrence Crawford has one of the better jabs in boxing. Canelo Alvarez at certain points, he don't even use the jab. He himself will try to go with the power, and try to hook to the body and, just try to break his opponent down. Canelo is just not just popping the jab out there on the regularity. It's going to be interesting, though. You know what I'm saying? That is Canelo Alvarez. I'm not going to be a fool up here and say Canelo is not on the level skill-wise to go in there and compete with Crawford. I'm not going to say anything like that. But I do believe that when it comes down to the percentages, they balance out equally when it comes to who can win the fight. People don't want to highlight boxing IQ when it comes to this fight. I don't know if that's prejudice. I don't know if it's just a bias that Canelo has with his cult fan base that people just want to say, Crawford don't have it. He doesn't have it. He's making it stupid. If he had boxing IQ, he'll know his weight class for a reason. Hey, he selected to call out Canelo Alvarez.
not the other way around. He called out Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo went running to Canelo, his daddy, and he went up there and conformed during fight week, the nicest I ever seen Jermell Charlo, and he went in there and did absolutely nothing. In my opinion, Canelo's going to take Crawford's power seriously, and we're going to see how seriously that power sustains itself throughout the fight. It doesn't have to be one punch knockout. One thing we know about Canelo, whether it's with counter shots or the right hand, Canelo rolls heavy with the right hand. He rolls heavy to his right. He will roll all the way and put his chin over his right shoulder to roll with that damn right hand. I mean, if you look at the Gennady-Golovkin fight, man, he was rolling all the way over with that shot, rolling like it was bowling night. God damn it! Shit, ITC Boxing to you is in the building. What's good? The Apostles are on deck. Shout out to Omaha Boxing. Great live the other day, man. W says one love to the Archbishop. Now they mad. Bud is showing his walk around weight. Man, whatever he do to nip it in the bud, they get mad. Hey, man, I'm glad he put it out there that he was 186. Because you hear too many, like, I just look at the fact that they believe that this dude is still walking around 135, 140. I mean, when they used to talk about how human beings are so easily manipulated mentally, this era, 2024 and 2025, you're seeing it play out right in front of you. It's been playing out. I'm talking about in real life, but it's been playing out in boxing for a long time, especially leading up to the Spence fight, because they just couldn't fathom Bud Crawford coming up from lighter divisions. Then they don't take any consideration as to what division Canelo started from. They don't want to take. When it comes to Canelo, yeah, he started 160. For real? Yeah, he started 160, man. He been fighting big divisions all his life. Husky fighter. You know what I'm saying? Husky Mexican fighter. He had big bones his whole career. Started 160. Took Gennady's belts. You know, you don't hear them talking about little talk with Canelo. All because they've seen him move up to 175. I guess that's what it is, right? They've seen him make advances and go up divisions and win. Just like Puma said, the end result. The end result says that Crawford is undefeated. The recorded results says if you're on the pound for pound list, you don't have to be undefeated. But there are certain criteria that puts Crawford on the pound for pound list. Unfortunately, fight fans believe that, yeah, he should be on the pound for pound list, no doubt about it. But when it comes to what he's accomplished in the sport, they keep on criticizing the man like he shouldn't be on the pound for pound list. You know what I'm saying? The shit don't add up. Like, oh, he's top pound for pound. He should be on the pound for pound. But then we start to scrub and highlight what he's accomplished, what they say. He ain't did nothing. He ain't did this. But you always talking about, yeah, he should be on the pound for pound list, though. Make up your mind. Canelo, him and Eddie Reynoso is definitely going to bring whatever game plan and strategy they have to the ring in September, just like Bo Mack and Crawford. I like where we get to see two high-level championship coaches and two high-level elite fighters in the same setting, mano-a-mano, championship showcase, legacy, under the bright lights, in one of the mega fights of this era. That's all I want to say. I want to see the instructions. I want to see the adjustments. I want to see the durability and resilience. I want to see the attrition. I want to see all that play out, the IQ, the intelligence, the tactical strategy, bro. I want to see all that mesh together I want to see the ultimate fighter. Who is the better boxer? I want this stigma to once again, the once for all, be dissolved, where people are looking at fighters and saying, you can't do that. You can't do that. They want to talk about, look, I understand comparisons and analogies. I get it. But when people use what Kell Brook did, what Mikey Garcia did, oh, it's weight classes for a reason, then you have to turn around and ask them, were those fighters, would you consider those fighters to be a Terrence Bud Crawford? That's all I want to know. Do you, based off what you've witnessed so far, do you see those fighters in the same light, fundamental wise, technical skill wise, as a Bud Crawford right now? Now, no knock on Mikey Garcia. Michael was a 4-division champion. He came from 35 to 47, and I never seen all these picket signs out there and protests. I've never seen these content creators, go away, Mikey. Go away, Mikey. Weight class for a reason. Weight class for a reason. Go away, Mikey. I didn't hear y'all out there yelling that when he moved up and fight your adorable fighter, Errol Spence Jr. I didn't hear y'all saying, go away, Mikey. Weight class for a reason. People's like hyping it up. Oh, God. You know, just like they bring up the Gamboa hurting Crawford. Do you know? I know y'all remember, those of you in the chat. I know you remember how many times they brought up Mikey, Errol Spence, when he fought Mike, he did 360. He did 370,000. He did 410 pay-per-view buys. He did 588. I swear they used the shit out of Mikey, bro. They used the shit out of Errol Spence fighting Mikey Garcia. The fighter who came up from 135 was their reference points to justify that Crawford is not a ticket seller. Not to mention that both of these fighters, once again, was going to be dancing under the bright lights on the same calendar date, July 29th. So what does pay-per-view numbers have to do with it? It was the end result that mattered. Now, just a side note, Glorilla said she's out here selling you know what I'm saying, because she lost 128K. She says she out here donating body parts for a small fee to recoup her money lost. I'm just saying. But anyway, back to boxing. The fight itself, for those of you that wasn't quite understanding of the information that was provided, it has been said that Turki Al-Sheikh purposely put false information out there to greenlight the community for 48 hours. Purposely did that. I don't like it one bit. Purposely did it. But when he turned around and said the Crawford fight was back on, you seen content creators looking like this. That's how they was looking on here, y'all. They was up here looking like Taylor Swift. They was looking at their computer sideways. Huh? I was just up here laughing my ass off that Crawford ain't gonna get the fight. Look at old boy to the left. He looking up at the sky. That's exactly how these YouTubers was looking. They was looking like Taylor Swift. Huh? What? What did Turkey just say? That is that real information? Is that current? Yeah, it's current. He just dropped it. It's current for real. No, man. Is the voiceover AI? No, it ain't AI. It's AL. Ala Sheik. Yeah, it's ALLA. Ala Sheik. ALAL. You know what I'm saying? It's for real, for real. Damn. God damn. I mean, I have to ask y'all. I mean, are y'all gonna be okay? Because we had to go through the recovery period of the aerosexuals, and now we have some of you all just talking down on the Canelo Crawford fight like you don't really want to see if Canelo can beat Crawford or not. That's my whole deal. Don't you want to see what you're talking to see if it's true, or you just fearful of it coming to fruition that Crawford goes in here and defeat Canelo? That's my only thing when it comes to the mental part. Don't you want to see it play out? If you firmly believe that Crawford can't win, at least aren't you eager? Don't you have a desire to see it play out? You have to want to see it play out, bro. Seriously, you have to want to see it play out. If you believe Canelo is that good and Crawford is making a grand mistake by moving up several divisions, if you are that type of person that's genuinely believing that Canelo gets it done easy, you should be on here hyping the fight up, not continuing to do what? Get on here and say what Crawford can't do. You should be able to say, okay, if Crawford believes he can do it, per the spirit of the sport, I want to see him do it. I want to see him do it. But what I hear is Crawford shouldn't do it. He's too small. The same violins, popping the same strings, the same hook. Weight classes, weight classes, weight classes for a reason, for a reason, for reasons. They're weight classes for a reason. We tired of hearing that hook. Every human being ain't the same. But it comes to the selfish part of it that some of you all don't want to see this man a part of history like that. And you definitely don't want to see him being responsible for shutting down Canelo Alvarez once again on the back end of his career. That's what I think. I think if you really believe that Crawford can't do it and Canelo can do it, why don't you hype Canelo up to face Crawford? Why did I see so many of you all so happy, jumping around for joy? You all were elated, excited. You all was full of joy, goddammit. When the news broke that the fight was off September, y'all was absolutely ecstatic. Do you hear me, y'all? The chat, the hottest chat in the MFN game. Do you hear me? These cats were excited, yo. I mean, they were super excited as if Errol Spence won July 29th when that fight was called off. People was driving down the street. Even the darkness couldn't stop them from doing a live. Hey, y'all, I know you can't see me. Just be patient with me. I gotta pay attention to these goddamn intersections. They be driving crazy over here. People be robbing people. But I gotta get this live out. Did you hear the news, the breaking news? The fight between Crawford and Canelo is off. They was riding down the street chuckling, y'all. And then when Turkey Al Sheik admitted, I don't see y'all, at least I sent the man a freaking tweet. I asked for him to publicly apologize. Y'all was the one up here laughing, getting your heart broke. Why y'all haven't sent the tweet to Turkey and say, hey man, you made me look foolish. I was up here laughing my ass off that the fight's not happening with Crawford and Canelo. And you say, oh no, I was green lighting y'all. That's all. Don't take it personal. All I was doing was green lighting y'all. I purposely put out false information to make. That's what he said. Make, y'all. So y'all need to get on there and tell that man that y'all need to Y'all need some apologies because he lied. He lied, y'all. But the even worse part about it is that you all are unwilling to go out here and do a follow-up to the very same video that you was making praising the fight being called off. The embarrassment, man. Come on, that's what I'm saying. And the embarrassment of it. Just go out here and say, you know what, I was embarrassed. Turkey played me. I got it. Y'all was up here lap riding Turkey, and he played the shit out of y'all. Real talk. He played y'all so good. So good. While Crawford was still putting out tweets. Crawford was still putting out tweets saying, Canelo, I can't wait to face you in September for Undisputed. And y'all say, Crawford, the fight ain't happening, man. What are you talking about? And then he came back and announced that the fight is on. No follow-up video or nothing, bro. It's just hate for Crawford, and Mikey didn't want no smoke with Crawford and stated that. His response was he didn't like his fighting style. Hey, Pima, I guess Mikey didn't see. You know, with Errol Spence, he say he see something. And you know what I think what he saw in their chat? I think he saw a paycheck. For real. I believe Mikey saw a paycheck for sure. Because Mikey needed that paycheck, being he was out of the ring for damn near 2 years in litigation, you know, handling that legality with Top Rank. Yeah, he needed that paycheck. I didn't hear Canelo saying, Mikey, payday, payday, payday. You know what I'm saying? I didn't hear him saying that about Mikey. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Good point. Bud haters gonna hate at the end of the day. It's funny how they said Bud did this thing against their favorite fighter and yet back hating. Man, sometimes you cannot break some of these adults, especially when these adults are frequent pedestrians over here on these boxing streets. Hey, the pedestrians over here are different. ITZ, Gooch, they different over here, bro. Their mindset is different in these streets. For real. Look, when I listen to some of these YouTube, it takes me back to that site that I saw in San Francisco where it's a whole block that just look like zombies and shit with motherfuckers strung out on drugs. When you listen to these cats talk and you say to yourself, you don't believe that. You can't believe it. And then they convince you that, yeah, that's what I believe. That's what I picture them. I picture them like that boulevard. I forgot the name of it. That damn epidemic that they have going over there. Motherfuckers just look like zombies in that bitch, man. It's just they willing to believe everything. They on the same shit. They're on the same type of drug over here. It's called manipulation, stupidity, false information. They want to go back to the same channel, listen to the same rhetoric, and then take that rhetoric and attempt to disseminate it in somebody else's chat and say, oh, no, you're wrong. It's this right here. Because they believe they're right. That's why you got to listen to the good and you got to listen to the bad. You got to listen to the facts and you got to listen to the fiction. You got to listen to the truth. You got to listen to the lies. A lot of what we have over here in the boxing community is clickbait. People don't look at boxers the way they should be, in my opinion. You should be, if you support a fight heavy, you should want them to go in there and face the toughest opposition. But to hear people say, I don't want to watch the fight. I mean, we're not talking about transgenders here. We're not talking about something that's supposed to be entirely lopsided and it doesn't rate our time as boxing fans. Like a female against a male. This is not that type of fight. So why would you be disgusted in seeing the fight as if it doesn't matter? This is legacy, bro. This shit is legacy all the way, no matter how you look at it. How often do we get legacy fights like this? Like one run that I like the Teofimo Lopez run back then with Masahiro Nakatani, Richard Comey, and Lomachenko. Bam Rodriguez. I like the run with Bam Rodriguez. Nobody talk about it was weight classes for a reason when Bam moved up the flyweight. No, the superfly. Nobody was talking about Bam when he moved up the superfly. Why nobody was talking about weight classes for a reason when he had 2 fights up there? He moved up for a championship fight and defended his title once he won it up there and moved back down. Picked up a title and then beat Sonny Edwards to unify. Nobody talking about that. And then he moved back up and fought Juan Estrada and beat him and stopped him. Nobody's talking about weight classes for a reason. Don't bring up Rigondeaux, because Rigondeaux stopped because his hand was hurt. He didn't get stopped. You know, he injured his hand. Y'all act like he was flatlined by Lomachenko. That's all I'm saying. Like, do y'all look at it as being boxing? That it hasn't been some very unique challenges met out here by boxers that you say, you know what, I didn't really see that coming like that. I didn't really see that fight going the way I thought it would go. Like, people didn't think Teofimo was going to beat Lomachenko. Not the clout that Lomachenko had on the pound-for-pound list up to that point. They didn't think Teofimo had any chance of beating Lomachenko. The YouTube community got it wrong once again, because me and about 2 other people was going for Teo. Everybody else is, including some of these bigger channels, Teofimo don't have a chance. Teofimo don't have a chance. Teofimo don't have a chance. He don't have a chance, man. He done. He done. Zip him up. He done. He ain't winning this fight against Teo. There's no way. And then he went in there and beat Teo. I guess they didn't learn then. I mean, sometimes with this box, almost like you're dealing with an orphanage and shit. Like, kids in an orphanage, they think alike. They don't get all hyped up thinking they're gonna meet a family and they're gonna make it out. You know what I'm saying? They have an orphan's mentality, man, to always, remember that they're a misfit. That's what the box community remind me of sometimes. It seems like they go against the grain for fun. They just go against the grain for fun. You don't want to see a Canelo Crawford? They're 2 legitimate boxers, 4 divisions into the game. Their own separate accolades. And you don't want to see? You just say, I hear people say, I don't want to see that fight. Why? It's trash. What? I'll sound like Lil Jon. What? What? Trash? What? Are you serious? Trash? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You trying to say just because 2 fighters that you don't support the both and only one, that the fighter's trash, being that one fighter is undefeated and the other one has 2 losses, but the one with 2 losses, the one you rock with the heaviest. How is the fight trash and we haven't seen it, bro? What? People, help me understand. How? I don't get that, bro. How is that possible? I don't get it. How does this look? How does that look right there? Because if you having conversation about Crawford up to this point, do you know the backblast, the shimmers, the shockwaves that this thumbnail sent through boxing? Do you understand how that process worked? Even 39-0, 30 knockouts, Crawford was said to have not did enough to qualify him to go in there and beat a 28-0 Spence. The box rec depicted this fight to happen 2023. 4 to 5 years in the making. We finally get the fight. Crawford had the opportunity to go for his second undisputed. He had already did it at 140. I think this thumbnail tells a very large scale story that will forever be etched in the boxing annals of history. An undefeated Spence, one loss, and still haven't been able to make it back to the sport. Crawford 39-0. He beat Spence. He's 40-0. 40-0 and 31 knockouts. Who imagined that Crawford, would have picked up his 31st knockout and it would have been Errol Spence, who was undefeated, pound for pound list, right next to Crawford for years. For years, y'all. Who would have thought this? But they saying that Canelo and Crawford is trash? You have to explain what's on the left side of this thumbnail if it's trash. You have to convince me. I love being educated by other human beings. You have to explain to me, where did this criteria come from that guy to the right, if by chance you are saying the Canelo Crawford fight is trash based off weight divisions for a reason. Please, I have to understand where you at with it. Trash? This is crazy, yo. You know that don't make any sense. How did he accumulate all of those achievements to the left if you're saying weight classes for a reason omits all of that? So if trash, what is the trash coming from? Is it coming from Canelo or is it coming from Crawford? Or when you say trash, you're just in the middle and saying that I don't want to see these two fight because you believe it's going to be one-sided. So if you're saying it's going to be one-sided, I have to take you back to this right here. One-sided. So you want us to believe that a fighter that's 41-0 and a current seated champion at 154 pounds is not in your good graces to see if you're right about weight classes being is weight classes for a reason, with Canelo Alvarez being the denominator? Is that what you're trying to convince me of? You need to change it up a little bit, because I really think you all are not one to see Canelo go through adversity. I think you've seen Crawford have his hand raised on too many occasions, and you didn't want that occasion to be in his favor. I get it. I get it. Boy, I get it. I do. I get it, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I get it. I get it. Hate will blind a lot of you cats. It does. It blinds a whole lot. But just to say the fight is trash, though, you know you're lying. You know you lying, bro. How can a fighter go up here and have all those accolades and he's trash because he's going up here versus a fighter whose record isn't unblemished? He has 2 losses, yo. You want to brag about him stepping up and facing Floyd Mayweather and how he stepped up at Bivol, but you want to keep it a secret? To check the box with him fighting Crawford, all because of 2 divisions below? It doesn't make sense, man. It's almost like you put up that freaking firewall for no fucking reason. Everything else was getting through. Message traffic flowing the way it's supposed to. But when you get Crawford into the config, then that's when everything, no, set that firewall stipulation right there. Yes. No way. No Crawford. Put that up there. Name Crawford would not be allowed past firewall IP address 268-1146. I mean, come on, bro. Come on now. Come on. You can't do that shit. You can't do that. You can't sit up here and look at the whole spreadsheet. You can't do it and say the fight is trash, all because you're used to seeing Canelo. You want Canelo continue to face mediocre opposition that is not a 50-50 fight. and continue to get the praise for being one of the greatest of this era. And I think a lot of you all don't want to see this black fighter from Omaha, Nebraska, go up here and defeat Canelo Alvarez and be able to have another celebration in Omaha, Nebraska. And this time with a mariachi band, sombreros, tacos, everything, goddamn it. Any Mexican delicacy we want. You know what I'm saying? I don't think y'all want to see it, bro. I don't think you want to see it. I think y'all want to continue to think Canelo has royalty. He's able to do what he want. You know? And it is what it is. But I'm going to leave it like that, man. I'm at 2 bones, man. I'm at 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the hottest chat in the MF game, man. Appreciate y'all for pulling up as always. We should do it again. Continue to use your brain for something to make you more smarter than you were yesterday. It's always good to advance on your own accord. Don't have someone else forcing you to be smarter in life. Do it on your own so you can appreciate the progress. I'm out.